In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what to do when a prospect tells you that they haven't got the time right now and how to turn that into a closed deal anyway. I've closed over $1.5 million in sales over the last few years, and like I said in this video, I'm going to be sharing exactly what you need to do to get to the bottom of when they tell you, yeah, they don't have time right now, it's not a good time, whatever it may be. So the first thing you need to do above anything is tie things back to the product or program or whatever it is that you're selling, because people don't make time for things that they don't actually think are going to work or that they don't actually think are good. So the first question I'm going to be asking them is, do you actually think this is going to work for you? So I'd diffuse it a little bit. I'd say, yeah, okay, no worries. Just quick question for you really is, do you actually think this is going to work? Like, do you actually think this product or program or whatever is going to get you to, XYZ goals that you've already asked them about previously in the call? Now, they should say yes, assuming that you've done a good job and that you actually have something like decent that's worth selling. If they say no, that's a totally different thing. And there's a video for that, which we'll come to later on. But basically, you need to find out if they actually believe in the product. If they say yes, okay. So now we just need to establish, is it a bandwidth thing or is it a timing thing? Now, you already probably have a pretty good read of this. So bandwidth is when people are like, I just don't have the time for this, just in general. Like I'm a busy person. And timing is more like, now's not the right time. Like I was planning on doing this, after Christmas in the new year, or like I'm going on holiday in 2 weeks or for 2 weeks or whatever. It's basically, there's just now isn't the right time. So it's like, yeah, I would do it, but I just need to, get to XYZ point in time first. So on the bandwidth side of things, if you've established, okay, that they're just too busy, the first thing you need to do is go into like what their current kind of situation is in regards to how much time they're spending trying to solve the problem. So you need to essentially ask them, okay, well, how much time are you spending either like researching how to solve this or actively trying to solve it? Because hopefully their answer will give you a read on what their current availability is in terms of time, and also it will allow you to compare how much time it's going to take them to do what you're proposing for them as well, right? So if they're like, oh yeah, I'm spending like 5 hours a week, you can be like, what, 5 hours a week? Like what we are going to do is only going to take you like 2 or 3 hours a week and also is going to yield you much better results. Okay, so you need to figure out what they're doing currently first. Then you need to move on to kind of, like I said, compare what things look like with you versus what things look like with them. If they're spending 10 hours and yours takes 10 hours, it makes sense. It's like, oh, you're already spending the same amount of time. It's just like better to do things the way that works, right? If they say a time that's like, if they're like, 5 hours or 3 hours and you require like more time, it's also worth kind of looking at, well, what is the most important thing to them right now? Hopefully it is solving the problem that your product or service solves. And then you need to be like, okay, well, we've got to prioritize here. So you need to compare it to, like, you need to find out how much time they're currently spending on it. And then you need to compare it to how much time it's going to take with you. And then hopefully that should put you in a pretty favorable spot. Now you need to trap them. You need to say like, hey, like, is it only like, it's like you want to ask them quite a closed question that leads them to an obvious answer, which is into your trap, which is something like, oh, would you be willing to spend like the next 10 hours a week off or whatever over the next month or two if it means getting you to XYZ goal? People are like, oh yeah, I would be willing to do it. Or like, do you think that would be worth it? Do you think it'd be worth spending an extra 5 hours a week? If it meant getting you an extra 20k a month in your business over the next few months. Yeah. Okay, great. We've trapped them. And then if they say, I'm not too sure, like, we'd have to challenge them and be like, look, like, you joined this goal for a reason. Like, let's be real here. Like, you want to scale this business, you want to achieve XYZ goal, like, you need to challenge them. Like, hey, like, you're at kind of crossroads here. Like, you can either continue doing things as you have been doing, or you can do things our way and spend the same amount of time, less time, even maybe more time, and start getting dramatically different results. Okay, so that's the bandwidth time objection. The timing time objection is a little bit harder to navigate. It's easier and harder, right? So that's when, like I said, when people are like, now isn't the right time, like, I want to do it after Christmas, or I want to do it when I get back from holiday or whatever. The first thing you need to do is just figure out exactly when they want to do it. Like, actually when. Okay, cool. So when is it would be the ideal time to start, okay? I might even bring it back round to the retie. Be like, okay, cool. So like, I might ask them, when do you want to do it? And they say, oh, like in 3 weeks. And I'm like, awesome. So like, if we could skip forward 3 weeks from now, like time travel 3 weeks, would you just be like, let's do this right now? Like if we were 3 weeks in the future currently, because that's, again, testing their actual commitment. Are they actually interested, or are they just trying to kind of smoke screen you? So I'd want to find out when exactly they want to do it, okay? Then I need to think about like priorities in terms of their priorities. It's like, okay, well, how much time do they have at the moment to be spending on this? If like or when they're on holiday or over the next few months, if they're just like the timing's bad, it's like, look, like, you know, you were going to get 3 months from now, if we're looking at September, or if you're in September or October and they're saying after Christmas, it's like, Jesus, like, what's the priority here? Like, you know, doing whatever you're planning on doing in between now and the end of the year, or actually scaling this business and solving this problem and implementing, you know, whatever it is. Similar to what I said on the bandwidth objection. So you need to figure out what their priorities are, and then you need to really like kind of check with them. Okay, well, like, if similar to kind of what I said before, like if you actually think that it can get you to where you want to go, if we were there like 3-4 weeks from now, if it was a month from now, if it was after Christmas right now, would you actually want to do it? And what kind of time or whatever availability do you have in the meantime to do it? Because it's like, oh, if they're going to be super busy, this is the key, right? If they're saying like, oh yeah, I'm just not going to have the time, like generally speaking, between now and the new year, then we need to check how much time they've got now, because then we can go on to kind of offer them something a little bit maybe outside of your usual offering. Let's just say you offer them a service where you're going to help them, I don't know, generate more leads. Let's just say you're going to help them with Facebook ads or something like that, and they don't want to start till after Christmas, and right now it's December the 2nd. You could offer something where you essentially say, okay, cool, well, there is definitely going to be some stuff you're going to need to do in the middle prior to launching the ads, prior to getting everything off the ground that I'm going to be working with you on. So what I could do is we could get you started now, but then only launch the ads at the beginning of the new year, only begin that kind of first month at the start of the new year. And so essentially it would mean that they would get a free month, where they could start getting things together, getting like whatever it is that you need them to do prior to like doing the service, or whatever shit that they need to do, they could be working on, but not feeling the pressure of having to get it done at this bad time. And then they still will begin from day one, essentially, in the new year. So they will be further ahead than they would have been if they waited till January and you get the deal over the line now. So we would offer them some kind of proposal like this, okay? So just to recap, first thing you need to do, regardless, is like, do you actually think this is going to work for you? Make sure they're not smoke screening you. You need to figure out whether it's bandwidth or timing. If it's bandwidth, you need to figure out how much time they're currently spending. You need to compare that to how much time they'd be spending on what you're offering. You need to trap them with like a binary question, like, would it be worth it? Like, would it be worth spending that 5 hours if it meant getting you to XYZ? To which they should say yes. At which point you could probably start going towards the close. And if they're like, I don't know, you need to challenge them on that. It's like, it probably is worth it. It's just like, if they don't believe that, then that's up to you to kind of challenge their beliefs on that. With timing, aka like, is now the right time? You need to figure out when the right time would be, what their priorities are, like what is the important shit to be doing, what are they doing in the middle, like what's more important, okay? You need to check in with them and see like, okay, do you actually, number one, do you actually think this is going to work with you? And like, would you do this if we were like, 3 months from now? And then you can make them an offer. If they're like, yeah, I would definitely do it, it's like, awesome, well, let's get you started. And worst case scenario, if like, I'll just give you that extra time for free, essentially, and then you can get started in the new year and be ahead of where you would have been anyway. How does that sound? If someone says no here, they're probably smoke screening you with a different objection. It shouldn't be too tricky to do this. It's not a super common one that comes up, but it's one that you need to know how to handle anyway. Also, it's industry dependent. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in finding out how I can help you scale your sales team, close more deals, etc., there's a link in the description where you can book a call with me. It's completely free. It's not a pitch call. It's a free discovery call, but there will be no pitching. It is genuinely just a conversation where I'd find out if I can help you. Even if you beg me, even if you're like, please let me give you my money, I will say no. On the second call, that's when I will pitch you, and that's when we'll do some fun objection handling. Hopefully you just say, yeah, take my money. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will speak to you very soon. See you in a bit.